what's up you guys? This is Rob from Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we'll be revisiting Rhino. Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. As many of you guys have seen, I'm a little bit split at the moment. My brain isn't 100% in-game as it is busy drooling over Mass Effect Andromeda. So I figured to get back in, I would do a little bit of light testing and just do a little bit of playing around. So one of the things that had been kind of waiting in the wings was Ironclad Charge. Now, a lot of people had been saying they'd been getting outrageous iron skin numbers off of it, and I was like, let's see how that goes when it's not in the simulacrum, when it's actually being played in practical missions. And as I was testing, I kind of realized how much fun I was having with Rhino. Now, as many of you guys know, I am not a Rhino main by any means, so first and foremost, take my builds with a grain of salt. Always take my builds with a grain of salt, but specifically here too, because I'm just playing around. I've looked up the mechanics and, kind of restudied Rhino to kind of get a feel for him again, but definitely not a Rhino main. Putting that out there. This is the second build that I use on him, and this actually takes his tankiness and converts it into a lot of CC. This I have a ton of fun with. It's a really different approach to him, but today we're going to be playing around with Ironclad Charge, and if we get a chance, we'll do the overextended version. Now, way back in the day, it was really funny because there was a little bit when we didn't have all of the crazy frames that we do now, all of the different tribes that we belong to. One of the things that we got a lot was like Loki Master Race versus the Rhino Master Race, which was like a legit genuine thing. And as I play him now, I kind of understand, because when you first start off the game, there's a lot of new things that you need to learn. You need to learn how to do the parkour, you need to learn how the gunplay. There's a lot of things that occur not just in gameplay but also like outside of mission, and it's a lot of things to take in. So that's why a part of me is like, wow, Rhino is an amazing frame because of the fact that, Iron Skin creates a shell that is basically, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Basically creates a shell that just absorbs a shit ton of damage, and you don't really have to do too much thinking about your gameplay, you know what I mean? You can just kind of jump in and enjoy like all the visceral violence that you are inflicting onto your enemies. And it's kind of nice, and it really helps new players ease into the game. However, at the same time, as good as it is, there's also a part of me that is kind of like, well, it's good, but at the same time, oh, I love it. Oh my god, it's a double team. At the same time, we also kind of state that it puts a little bit of a crutch on newer players because they get used to the iron skin and then they kind of develop some bad play habits. However, I guess when you're first learning, it is very easy to see Rhino as like this kind of god, It's like nothing can hurt me, I don't have to worry about toxin, I don't have to worry about CC effects, I can have a conversation and let enemies shoot at me, and I'm not, dying left, right, and center like I would with, let's say, a new player that has not quite gotten the hang of playing mag, right? Okay, you can stop. And that's the great thing about Rhino, right? Is because of the fact that you can literally, number one, you've got a decent amount of CC. Look at just how they float off aimlessly with the Ferox. It's a nice effect. With Rhino, you don't have to necessarily worry about taking damage, you do have to refresh your skin occasionally, but at the same time you can also pull off a Rhino Stomp, which basically just holds enemies, helplessly midair. And that's a great feeling to be able to exert that control and also at the same time being vulnerable. So when you're first starting off in the game, it's very easy to get this feeling of invincibility with Rhino, which as many of us know later on is not necessarily the case, as things tend to eat through his iron skin pretty freaking quickly. But I'm almost hoping for a nullifier here. No, I got to it too late. I'm kind of hoping for a nullifier here to be able to show what Ironclad Skin Charge, whatever it's called, Ironclad Charge. There's just too much iron with Rhino. It's just hard to remember all of the verbiage, but as you guys know, it provides a big boost. It provides a big boost to his armor, which provides bonus health. Through his iron skin upon cast. So honestly, this is the first time that I've ever hoped for a nullifier. It's hilarious because the other day I've been kind of playing around with a mag build and really seeing if we could go in and do the 60 minutes later series. Oh, it's what's his face? I didn't even realize. Look at everybody being all dead and shit, and I'm just standing next to Stalker. Hi! Oh, unfortunately, I think he got his target. No bueno. But yeah, with Rhino, you can kind of just go through missions and feel that way. You're like, oh, there's Stalker. Okay, cool. Now I don't know if he debuffs your Iron Skin, because I know that he is known for removing buffs from players. However, if he doesn't, it's kind of like easy going. And as you can see right there, you can kind of just stomp around and just keep enemies at bay. Uh-oh. We need to worry about all of these enemies getting all up in here. Oh, good job. Good job, Frost. Now, I did a shitty job over here. Oh, there's Banshee. Taking care of business. Let's see if we can't help her get the score back up. But yeah. Like, with Rhino, you get CC, you get invulnerability, and there's a part of me that is like, it's nice. It's nice to not really have to think too hard, and at the same time, it doesn't feel... And I have to put this out into the universe, because as of late, it's just, I've had, you know, the cheese versus cheese discussion part 2. Because as I play, you know, the endgame stuff, they're like, well, don't use Naramon, that's cheese. And so somebody tells me, well, just go ahead and use Wukong instead. And I'm like, isn't that also cheese? They're like, well, use Valkyr. I'm like, that's also kind of cheese. With Rhino, because of the fact that you do have to, like, refresh Iron Skin and all of that kind of stuff, it's only, like, mild cheese. And I hate to get into the discussion, but, you know, everybody thinks that cheese is different. Some people are like, well, Loki's radial disarm is cheese. Well, Nyx's old assimilate was cheese. Everybody is kind of like, everybody's got their own cheese, and everybody gets upset when their cheese gets nerfed. So it's kind of like one of those things like, how dare you call into question my cheese? I love my cheese. But I think there's a general consensus that Rhino isn't really cheesy. Because of the fact that, you know, he definitely has to go and, you know, apply his skin in order to get, that sounds weird, apply his skin, to turn on Iron Skin in order to get all of his buffage in there. And also because of the fact that it can be nullified by a nullifier. They're like, no, that doesn't count as cheese. But, you know, everybody's got their own definitions. It's funny, though, because in early game, you never think of it that way. You're just like, man, I'm immortal! And, you know, as much as we laugh about that, kind of like, you know, as veterans, at the same time, it's a great way to start the game. Because we all want to feel like badasses, right? We all want to feel like blade storming ninjas. We want to feel like these invisible tricksters. We want to be able to set the world on fire. We want to feel really, really, really cool. And I think that Rhino is a great way to kind of like start that out. This is what I love. I'm going to see if I can set this up. Nobody else come here. You all stay there. Oh, we have to do this thing first. Please, everybody stay so that I can demonstrate it. I just need one around. Ooh, what do we want? What do we want? We want this one. Oh, do we want that? I don't know what we want. Shit, I don't know what I want. This will probably get, what is it called? This will probably get banked first. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. I'm like, I don't know. I know we had so many good ones in that one. But yeah, so it's like everybody kind of has their own definition of cheese, but when in the early game you just play and you just really want to feel cool, and then, you know, it's like the real world. You go into the real world and people are like, no, you can't do that, that's not cool, and you're like, but I thought it was a great feeling. We should just let players have their cheese and enjoy themselves. But clearly, you know, everybody wants to shit on everybody's parade, that's a thing. But while we're here, let's see if we can make this happen, because this has been one of my little fun things that I've been playing around with Rhino's Ironclad Charge is the Ferox. I've been enjoying this little bit a lot, and I want to see if I can pull it off again on camera for you guys. Please, somebody, anybody, just do it. Just send them this way. All right. Do your thing, Ferox. Do your thing. Kitty, don't kill them all. Yes! Aw, shit. Well, that didn't work out quite the way that I wanted to. Actually, stand there. Is what I ended up doing is I ended up tossing down the Ferox, trapping a whole bunch of enemies in one place, and then casting a Ironclad Charge, and that tends to work fairly well, because the Ferox basically kind of like holds them in place and allows you to charge through a whole bunch of them. And if they're high enough level, can you please not? I'm trying to take out this nullifier. Like, I'm having a conversation here, and I'm trying to take out 2 nullifiers. You are bitch holes. This is the one thing that frightens my Rhino. Come on, reload, come on. Listen, motherfucker, and I died because I was too busy paying attention to the stupid nullifier bubbles. Yeah, fucks. I hate them all. I hate them all. As I play, I find that nullifiers are like the #1 thing that I need to pay attention to. Whenever I do the 60 minutes later series, I'm like, all right, how can I deal with these nullifiers? What is my solution for the nullifiers? So when DE was talking about nullifiers changing the way that we play, they were kind of right. Which I guess isn't necessarily a terrible thing, because you know otherwise we would just be rampaging through the system, all playing certain. Ooh, let me hit a lot. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. I usually try. I like to go for the $5.99 ones, but I'll take a $3.99 one if I get a chance. It sounds like I'm trying to shop or something. Oh, come on, nullifier, you piece of shit nullifier. Come on. Why must you ruin everything? And that's the fun and amazing part about Rhino. You basically put your foot down and you're like, no, not okay with this. Not okay with this. And it's a great feeling to just be able to. There's also this thing that I like, and I know I just stopped talking there for a second. There's this thing that I love when it comes to Rhino, is that after you stomp, there's almost this moment of like silence. Let's see if you can do it. It's like this peaceful silence that occurs after a Rhino stomp. I don't know if you guys fully got it, because there's this asshole over here shooting with the shotgun that ruined my peaceful silent moment of zen. And it's actually something that I like paused several times. I was like, oh, just listen to the silence. The silence that is Rhino stomp. I don't even know if it's called stomp or Rhino stomp. I just put Rhino in front of all of the names of his abilities, which to a degree I kind of love, you know? Rhino stomp, Rhino charge, and then they turned it into Iron Skin instead of Rhino Skin, which I wish it would just all said Rhino. So it would be Rhino charge, Rhino Skin, Rhino roar. I think it just fits. It's kind of like it's clobbering time. It's just like a simple way for him to express his feelings, right? But yeah, no, I think that he's perfect for. Oh, just what? Do you not have a color? Oh no. It's because somebody probably brought it down already. But no, it was. Oh, am I getting anybody? There you go. It's kind of like my feeling with Rhino is like he's the embodiment of simpler times. And even now though Rhino is like evolving and changing, as you know, his Iron Skin got an update. He's got more synergy with his abilities, quote unquote. As you know, his Rhino charge synergizes with Iron Skin, where you get a guaranteed blast proc if you smash into an enemy with Iron Skin on. And you get the synergy with the Rhino charge with the Rhino stomp, where if you're stomping, anything that's under the effects of your stomp is dealt more damage with Rhino charge. There's just like more. There's more to him now than there was before, but even then, he still feels like a nice, simple frame for newer players to learn. A part of me really wants that one. Let's do that one. Let's just stick with that one. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of him, and I quite enjoy him, just to kind of like blow off steam. He's like Valkyr, but less yelly, which I can definitely appreciate. I'm gonna leave this team, and they're probably gonna be upset. Lancelot, I don't feel so bad after all. Yes. Because I definitely want to show you guys the overextended stomp variation, and that one is a build that I really like, because it basically is just CC overload, because as you stomp, as you guys know, enemies are suspended in air or slowed for 95%, and you just basically, it sounds so bad, you just basically get to do with them as you will. Oh, let me get out of this squad real fast. And it opens up nice synergies for the rest of your team too, and I know this sounds so cheesy, but like anything in the star chart, you're gonna see embers, you're gonna see ashes, and how much do you think they appreciate you putting down a stomp and just basically laying everything out in midair and say, do what you want. Do whatever you want. Do you want to go ahead and just burn them all to death? Do you want to, you know, come up to them and just put a knife in their neck? You know, EV Trinities? EV Trinities. Here, look. You have targets that you can target. It's like a nice respectful area of effect ultimate ability. It takes out all the easy guys, but it gives you a little bit of, let's see. Maybe we should do this one. Maybe this won't take too long. Let's do this one. We don't touch the one that says 69 because that's just rude. But it makes for some easy defenses and kind of sets your team up for success, especially with his roar at the same time. Now, clearly, because of the fact that this is an overextended build, you don't get as much power in his roar, which is kind of like why I was trying to make a little bit of a hybrid build for him earlier, as you guys saw, was because I wanted a little bit of extra punch in his roar. Let's see. Can we do it one more time? If not, it's the universe telling us don't do this mission. No, it's the universe saying fuck you. Let's do that interception one more time then. Let's see if anybody wants to join. Nobody wants to join with a good old Rhino. That makes me sad. But yeah, I find, because you can definitely tell within the design of certain frames like Zephyr that they came from a different era, like the Rhino era, the original era, as opposed to the frames that we have now that tend to come in with complex mechanics, like maybe a step sequencer or something, which tend to make things a little bit more complicated, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with complicated frames, but I think we had talked about this when we talked about Atlas, where Atlas is a much simpler frame. There's not too much to him that you really have to worry about other than beating someone's face in. Oh, it looks like someone died and then somebody got really upset with them dying and left. Well, that's what happens sometimes. Are there two? Are there two? There's another one who left the squad. I told you they didn't want to play with Rhino. They're like, fuck this. Let's see if we can get in this way. Why is everybody failing so hard? I really like that silence. It's just so good. It's like the silence just after the stomp. It just kind of makes you feel good. Look at them just slowly falling to the ground like little leaves. Now, one of the things that does make me sad is that when you stomp, it does not refresh the duration on targets that have already been stomped. But it gives you, when you look at things like this, it gives you some free space to capture areas, and to kind of leave your team in a decent space. So that way they never have to, oh no, they took my C. That sounds dirty. But let's see how far. Is this a good range? Yep. Oh, that's a good range. But it lets you, this build also gives you a little bit more mobility, not more ability, but mobility, and gives you a lot more CC. And that way, if you do have a couple enemies that are coming through, it's not so hectic. It's just kind of like, whatever. And you can still put on Iron Skin to absorb a little bit of damage. However, that's not the complete focus of this. And gives you a little bit of peace of mind on the battlefield. Lets your team have their fun with their enemies, It's a considerate Rhino. This is like what I like to consider the more grown-up Rhino, as opposed to the Rhino that is like literally running everywhere. Look at how far you can go with that. Yeah, that's right, like sitting ducks. Just ready for the Rhino pickings, ready for my Rhino charge, my Rhino skin, and my Rhino roar. Look, I didn't even notice. I'm still at 1% though for the shield. It's so low. I think it's only like a 1,000 point shield on this build, which hurts a lot. But you know what? You give up. You gotta give up something for as much control as you do, and that's what I think a lot of people forget when they're modding. Is like you can't just dump in a bunch of power strength and expect that to win everything for you. You gotta remember to keep your build balanced, unless of course you're trying to go for like something overextended or trying to do something ridiculous. But there's always things that you give up when you mod, and when you see builds like this, it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, oh, this is the way it feels to play like a newbie again. You're like, everything is just midair and just sitting there. And the great thing about Rhino Stomp 2 that I really, really like, you pair it with Xeneric and you get some, you can cast it repeatedly. And the thing that I think is fantastic about it, oh my god, the thing that's fantastic about it is mainly because of the fact that when enemies are standing back up, it takes them a while to get back up. So you can refresh, so that you can refresh your Rhino Stomp on those enemies a little bit sooner. It was my own fault. I was not paying attention to my health whatsoever. Instead, I was just commentating, as you guys know. No, why are you running away? Why are you running away? Don't you see? Actually, since I have no iron skin, it's hard. Okay, I forget sometimes. I can't tell which one is which. Since I have no iron skin, I can just kind of walk into there willy-nilly as I wish. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about simple, because we've already talked about simple frames, but how did you feel when you first started Warframe? I think that's maybe the better question, because I know as we progress in Warframe and we get like involved in the community, people start putting ideas in your head and saying, this is OP, you're not allowed to do that, this is cheesy, that is cheesy. But you know, what is cheese? Isn't that just another way of being cool? Isn't cheese cool? Isn't cheese delicious? Cheese is delicious. It's just that everybody has their own kind of cheese, and they want to feel that their cheese isn't cheese. They want to feel that they're just cool. I mean, legitimately, every frame has cheese. Every frame has some form of cheese, otherwise they wouldn't be a Warframe, right? Like, the only... even Banshee has cheese. I was gonna say, like, the least cheesiest frame is Banshee, but legitimately, the least cheesiest frame is a frame that doesn't use any mods or abilities. Like, that's the legit cheese frame, right? That's the legit non-cheese frame right there, if we're gonna be honest, right? Because every frame has something that they use to manipulate the battlefield, to make them more powerful and to exert force over the things that happen in game. And a part of it is like, just look at the coolness of like suspended things in air. That's so awesome, and we lose that in the game because there's so many people that tell you that, oh, this is wrong, you're not allowed to do this. This is not a good way to play because it's super cheesy. But a part of it is kind of like, all right, so what's so wrong with feeling a little bit overpowered? Why is everybody so hung up on quote unquote things like power creep in a player versus in a PvE game? It's like, what's the issue there? And that kind of like always has bothered me. I'm like, who does it hurt? It doesn't hurt anybody except for the people that are like sitting there at the end screen like, oh, I only did 15% of the damage. My heart hurts. Let me look at this screen, and it was only because this guy right here must have had a Galatine Prime, and I didn't have a Galatine Prime, so I don't feel as cool as Darkmourn, who did 35% of the damage. God, that power creep. Anyway, I'm going off on some weird random tangent. Let me know how you guys feel about how you felt when you first started the game, number one. How you feel about your interactions with the community from that point on. Have you been shamed out of your cheese? And how do you guys feel about this quote-unquote power creep? It's a PvE game. What do we care what anybody else uses? Because let's be real, the Galatine Prime is like one of the best, if not possibly... No, I'm going to say one of the best, because there's a lot of different bests in this game, and the Galatine Prime is definitely a powerhouse. But when it first came out, everybody was like, power creep, power creep, power creep. And the definition of power creep is that one item becomes so powerful that it literally negates the use of other weapons. And I don't think that that's happened with Galatine Prime. I don't think that it's happened with Legion. I don't think that it's happened with Atarax. I don't think it's happened with anything that anybody has cried power creep, because this game is so diverse and there's so many different angles. I'm on a soapbox now. I will let you guys go. You guys let me know about all of your feels of all of that, and I'm gonna stop it right here. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. And keep an eye out, because there will be more Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda stuff coming to the channel soon. But it's okay. I still love Warframe, and we're still gonna be playing Warframe here as well. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.